The channel, I wanted to give you a little secret. So this topic I actually did last week. I posted it, but then I quickly took it down. Why? Because it was not my best work. And although obviously I want to post the messy, the authentic, but I was going through a bit of anxiety and a bit of a tough time. And I wanted to give you more than that. So here I am back in a better mood and ready to give you this topic this week because I know that it is an important one. So, why is being alone so scary? And how do we stop single shaming ourselves? I mean, we've all had this irrational fear. I mean, I did when I was single. You know, the one where you think if you suddenly died, no one would know. And most likely, after a few days, someone would come into your apartment and find your cats eating your eyes for dinner. I mean, at least that was my fear. But even if you're not a cat person, I can't be the one that was alone in my thinking in terms of this fear, right? Like really, really, really being alone. This is a big one. But why is it so scary for people? So let's face it, being alone can be absolutely terrifying. And I think this is especially worse for women. The reason why is that many of us grew up watching Disney movies where every storyline involved a beautiful princess finding her prince and they live happily ever after. The end. Period. Full stop. We don't see anything else that happens after that. And seeing this so many times during our childhood leads us to believe that this is what we should aspire to, and happiness is found when you're living your life with a partner. So, what happens when you're single? As women, we're often told that we only have a certain window to get things done, whether that's getting married, having kids, having stability, the right job, all the things. And society sets these invisible deadlines for us. And if we don't meet them, you can consider yourself an outcast. Because of this, we feel less desirable and just unworthy of love. But here is the truth. Just because you're not in a relationship, it doesn't define who you are. And it doesn't determine your worth, your beauty, or your success. Because we have been conditioned to think that it does. So part of the fear of being alone is actually the fear of not meeting external expectations, such as society, our family, our friends, and our own internal crazy expectations that are just other people's projections onto us. One of the biggest reasons we're so afraid of being alone, and I know this was big for me when I first became single after my divorce, is that we suddenly have to face ourselves. And what I mean by that is having to face the emotions that we've been pushing down all of these years and after all of that heartache. Because while we might try to jump from one distraction to the next, I mean, I jumped from one relationship to the next, and I jumped from one club dancing, drinking all night to the next. We are pushing away all our feelings. But sooner or later, they're going to bubble up and affect all parts of our life instead of just one. So I used to fill every second of my time with something, whether that was working late, friends, Netflix binges, anything, just to avoid sitting with myself. And while it's good to keep busy, but ignoring this pain will only make it try harder to get your attention. So eventually, I realized that I was actually just running away from my own judgments and my feelings and my fears. When we're alone, we meet ourselves in a raw, unfiltered, icky way. And sometimes that is completely uncomfortable because it reveals parts of us that we haven't accepted or we don't like just yet. It also brings up those scary dark sides, our critics and our inner bullies that come out to play. But those dark sides, those parts of us that we don't like, they are the parts of us that actually need to be heard the most. They reveal insights and lessons that we need in our moments of pain so that we can, in fact, become stronger and actually heal. Past relationships can leave major scars on our self-confidence. We get that. And those scars can often say, you're not worthy of a loving relationship. You're not worthy of happiness. If I'm alone, maybe it's because something's wrong with me. Nobody wants to be with me. I'm not good enough. But let's unpack that for a second. Think of it this way. If being alone really meant that we are unworthy, why are there so many successful, brilliant people, especially women, who choose solitude even just temporarily? Let's look at Mindy Kaling, Diane Keaton, Charlize Theron, and my girl Reese Witherspoon right now. They are super successful actresses who are living their best lives and not compromising their joy just because they're single. People who are in relationships, women that are in relationships that completely wrap their life around partners, should maybe, this is an unpopular opinion, but take a page out of a single woman's book and actually develop a relationship and a life outside of their relationship so that they have this undying confidence and this allure and this uniqueness that they can come back to their relationship with and share what they've learned and make their relationship more robust, more loving, and more exciting. Being single is not a problem that we need to solve. It's a way of life that needs to be embraced. As someone who experienced a long period of singledom after my marriage, getting back into a relationship comes with a whole host of other challenges. Some days I really do miss being single. I had the freedom to live my life without ever having to think of someone else but myself. Is that selfish? Hell yes. Was it completely worth it? Hell yes. Now, I love my partner, but there are some benefits of being single that vice versa, we can embrace that having an individual, beautiful, joyful life, whether you're single or in a relationship, is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. Being in a couple has many challenges, or arguably way more than a single person. And we tend to, and I did this in my relationship, we tend to lose ourselves. And that's why it's important to maybe take notes from a successful, happy single woman and use some of those insights in our own lives and our relationships in developing ourselves and who we are. I'll come back to this question. Why is this so scary to be single? And what are some things that you can actually do if the thought of being alone is still overwhelming for you? Let me break it down. Number one, take a break. Take a break from whatever is giving you stress and give yourself permission to do so. If that's whether that's keeping busy with friends, hobbies, work. I mean, obviously you're not going to quit your job, but start to set up boundaries and maybe even getting yourself out of the dating game for a bit if you're, on the apps a lot. I found myself when I was single that I would constantly just be scrolling on the apps because that's just what I did in a day. And I wasn't focusing on myself and developing that relationship because I was so focused on finding a partner. When you actually take the time to step away from those things and focus on yourself, you're going to be amazed at what you discover when you're not constantly seeking someone else's company, but actually craving your own. I know a lot of people get tripped up on being alone as something negative, especially if you get to a certain age. I'm 40, I'm in a relationship now, but I mean, creeping up to 40, I was feeling pretty crappy about myself. And I had to redefine what alone meant to me. Because if we think about what alone traditionally has meant, society often paints this as something negative, but you have the power to reframe it as a privilege, a space where you can focus solely on your needs and your dreams. What are some of the things that you enjoy just about being single that makes you so happy, that lights you up? Revel in the fact that you are able to do them without anyone's approval. I mean, that's incredible. Without all the noise of a relationship and your nagging thoughts about why you're still single, turn that focus inward. What feelings, dreams, or goals have you been brushing aside because you've been worrying about, when's your next date and when you'll be married next, or when is your partner showing up? Our mental health can take a toll when we're not paying attention to ourselves and what really matters. Take a moment, take a beat to really look at what you want for yourself and your life and focus on that and put your energy into that. Rediscover those likes, dislikes, those quirks that may have been hidden away in past relationships that are actually part of the real you. Because all of these things that you may have been hiding away were essential to be included as a part of you in the relationship. So now when you walk forward in a relationship, the real you will be there, not the facade of you. Start reconnecting with the real you and what you like and what you don't like, your hobbies, those quirks, creating those boundaries. You're going to show up as your authentic self when you meet your partner, the right one. Being alone doesn't mean you're isolated, and connecting with people doesn't necessarily mean your family or your friends, because sometimes you just want people that are outside of your inner circle, especially when you are living your life a little bit differently. Find a community that shares your interests, join a group, or volunteer, or build up those hobbies, and surround yourself with people who respect you, inspire you, and understand what you're going through. Here's the thing: we can't control everything in life. The least of all, we can't control humans or the relationships that we're in and out of. But what we can control is our own happiness, the way that we react to our life circumstances. So, this chapter of being alone for you, take it as an invitation to take responsibility for your joy, how you show up for yourself, your dreams, and learn how to embrace those parts of you that you may have lost along the way. Why is this important? Because in your next relationship, you can show up how you are, as you are, for the person who's going to love all of you, not certain parts of you. And that's really the only person you want to be. So, my action item for you this week is to find one thing that's just for you. Maybe that's a solo coffee date. Maybe it's a solo wine date. Maybe it's journaling about what being alone really means to you. Maybe that's listing off some things that give you joy, or signing up for a new hobby that you've been pushing off for a while. But do the thing. Take that step. And I'd love to hear in the comments what you decide to do and what happens in your life after that and how you feel. So thank you so much for showing up today and watching this video. The other thing I want to mention is that I'm going to be putting together a single for the holidays challenge. So this is a little bit of inspiration and some tactical steps and insights that you can use over the holidays to really embrace being single and enjoy the hell out of it. So if you're interested in signing up for that challenge, put the word challenge below in the comments and I will send you the link to sign up. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great week.